Okay, guys, so today we will be solving the problem named for loop in C. This is a part of the C language skill in Hackerrank. So let's see how this problem will be solved. So the author of this problem is Abhiranjan. The difficulty level is easy. The maximum score is 10, and this has been submitted by around 0.12 million people as of now. The objective says in this challenge you will learn the usage of the for loop, which is a programming language statement which allows code to be executed until a terminal condition is met. They can even repeat forever if the terminal condition is never met. Okay, so the basic for loop is a set of three expressions and a statement. Okay, a block of statement which will be executed as long as this expression 2 holds true. Okay, now this for loop can run for infinite loops, right? If the condition is true forever. Okay, so we need some kind of limit, right? So this is what expression 2 is for. There is a detailed explanation for all these three expressions. Expression 1 is used for initializing variables, which are generally used for controlling the terminating flag for the loop. So basically, expression 1 is the counter. Okay, like I is equal to 0. Expression 2 is used to check for the terminating condition. If this evaluates to false, then the loop is terminated. Okay, so this is the condition. This is what decides whether or not the loop is going to execute. If this is true, then the loop will execute. If this isn't true, then this loop will end. Okay, this loop will terminate. Expression 3 is generally used to update the flags variables, which basically means that the flag or the variable is increased or decreased with every cycle. Right, here is an example. The following loop I initializes I to 0, tests that I is less than 10 and increments I at every iteration. It will execute 10 times. So here is the structure. In the expression 1 we have integer declaration I variable is equal to 0, then a semicolon, and then we have I less than 10, which means as long as I is less than 10, the loop will keep executing. So we have increase function here. I plus plus means after every loop I will increase by 1. So as long as this condition is met, the block of statements will keep executing. The task here is for each integer n in the interval a to b given as input. So a to b will be the input given in the form of two integers, the values a and b. If n belongs to 1 to 9, 1 and 9 both are included, then print the English representation of it in lowercase, that is 1 for 1, 2 for 2, and so on. Basically, the words for those numbers between 1 to 9. Else, if n is greater than 9 and it is an even number, which means both the conditions should be satisfied. The number should be greater than 9 and it should be an even number, then we print even. Else, if the value of n is greater than 9 and it is an odd number, then print odd. So both the conditions should be satisfied. It should be greater than 9 and it should be an odd number, which prints odd. Okay. Now the input format is basically the first line contains an integer a, the second line contains an integer b. This is the end limits. Okay, a and b are the end limits. There can be many integers between a and b, right? The constraints are 1 is less than equal to a less, which is less than equal to b, which is less than equal to 10 to the power of 6. So the basically condition is that b is always greater than or equal to a, and both of them lie between 1 to 10 to the power 6. The output format will be print the appropriate English representation even or odd based on the condition described in the task section. Here is a note which is very important. You should remember this while solving the program. Close brackets a to b is equal to x belonging to z, which means x is an integer, and x is less than equal to b and greater than equal to a. X belongs between a and b, and the value of x or the set of x is a plus 1, a plus 2 until b. Okay, so the common difference here is 1. And here is an example. The sample input is 8 and 11. A is 8 and B is 11. So we will print the values according to the conditions from 8 till 11. For 8, for 9, for 10 and for 11. Now we analyze the first number, which is 8. So it belongs to 1 to 9. Hence we print its word. Okay, its English representation, which is the spelling of 8. Then the next number is 9, right? So 9 also belongs between closed intervals of 1 to 9. Okay, so we also print the English representation for 9, which is the word 9. Now we increase it by 1 again, and we have 10. Now 10 does not lie between closed intervals of 1 to 9, it lies outside. 10 is greater than 9. Okay, so 10 is greater than 9, so we will check two conditions, whether or not it is an even number and whether or not it is an odd number. So 10 is an even number and it is greater than 9, so we print even. The next number after 10 is 11. 11 is greater than 9 and it is an odd number. Both the conditions are met. Here we see the third condition in the task. Both conditions are met, so we print odd because 11 is greater than 9 and it is an odd number, right? So we move to writing the program. Here we have some code that is written for us. Integer a and b. Okay, scanf %d backslash n %d and a and b. Okay, so basically we are taking the inputs. Here backslash n is used to go to the next line and take input. %d defines that we are taking the input integer type. Okay, so let's write the code, and I'll explain it to you how this works. Okay, we need a counter, so we will declare I, right, and this will change according to the values of A and B. So how this works is we have one for loop inside which we have if else statements, right? So the for loop has a counter I which we declared here besides A and B, and the counter I is initialized to A. A is the smaller number. Here we saw in the condition, the constraints, A is the smaller number. Okay, so I is initialized to A and I increases by 1 with every loop, and I goes till B is less than equal to means it goes till B. Okay, so the first iteration will have, for example, this value, the sample input. The first line will be a is equal to 8, the second line will be b is equal to 11, right? So for 8, when I is equal to 8, because a is 8, we go inside the loop. I is less than b, this condition is satisfied since b is 11 and I becomes 8, because we put the value of a inside I. So 8 less than is equal to 11, this is true. So we go inside the for loop and we check each and every condition whether or not I is equal to 1. This condition is not true, so we go to the next condition. Else if I is equal to 2. This is also not true, so we move to the next condition. Like this we keep moving until we encounter the value 8. because I is equal to 8, so I double is equal to, which is the comparison operator, this will be satisfied, this will be true. So we print this statement 8 the number word. Okay, also since this one condition is satisfied, so we don't need to execute this anymore. So the for loop ends and the counter increases by 1. So the value 8 increases by 1 and it becomes 9. 9 is less than equal to 11, b is 11, and I has become 9 by increasing by 1. Okay, so 9 is less than 11, which is true. So we go inside the for loop and we keep checking these statements. These will not satisfy until we get I is equal to 9. So this condition will satisfy since the current value of I is 9. So we print this statement 9, the word 9. Okay, again this one is satisfied and we end the for loop. Again the value increases by 1 and I becomes 10. 10 is also less than equal to 11. This condition is true. So we again go inside. All of these statements up till 9, none of them will be true because 10 is greater than all of them. So this condition we check, I is greater than 9, which is true. Okay, 10 is greater than 9, it is true. And we have a double AND operator, which means both the conditions on each side should be true to execute the next statement. Okay, so first one is true, first condition is true since 10 is greater than 9. Then we have double and again we check I divided by 2, the remainder, because this is modular division, the remainder is equal to 0. Okay, this is an even condition. So 10 divided by 2, the remainder will be 0. Hence 10 is an even number. Also it satisfied this condition as well. So we print the statement which belongs to this section, which is even. The value even will be printed. And again we end the for loop. Again we increase the value of I by 1. We get the value of I as 11. So 11 is less than equal to 11, which is true. 11 is equal to 11. So we go inside the for loop again. All of these statements we check up till 9, none of them will be true. Then we move to this statement. 11 is greater than 9, it is true. And 11 divided by 2, remainder is equal to 0, which is not true. Because when we divide 11 by 2, we get the remainder as 1. Okay, so which is not equal to 0. So since these both conditions should be satisfied to print this statement, this one is not true. This one will be not printed. Even will not be printed. Then we move to the last statement and check these condition, both these condition, which is I greater than 9, 11 greater than 9, which is true. Double and I divided by 2 not equal to 0. This exclamation sign means not. Okay, not equal to 0. So which is true, the remainder is 1, which is not equal to 0. This condition is satisfied. This condition is also satisfied since 11 is greater than 9. So now the both conditions are satisfied. So we print the next statement, printf odd. Okay, so this way we print all the four values that we have to print according to the increase in numbers by 1. And after every loop we have a printf new line statement since we want to print values in the next line after every iteration, right? So let's check the code and see what we get. We run the code and the sample test case is satisfied. This should be the output and this is the expected output. This is our output. We get the same result, so this case is satisfied. Now we submit the code and check whether or not all the cases are satisfied. Okay, so all the cases are satisfying, which means our code was correct, right? So you can manually type this. Okay, you can manually type this if else statement. This is a if else chain nested inside a for loop, right? This looks a bit tedious, but it will become easy if you practice more, right? So we meet in the next video. Till then, take care. Bye bye.